privilege for me actually to be with such a amazing, wide, different speakers. It's great. Now, for me, when I was looking for a Bible college, I always thought about, okay, I want to learn theology. I want to grow in my theological understanding and the depth of God's word. But at the same time, I want something practical, something tangible, something that I can get hands on and be involved in. So the topic that Tim gave me, why does All Nations train for all nations? Okay. Now, I'm an alumni here. I studied here 2017, 2020. Sue was actually one of my teachers. And I'm also a husband, married for 16 years, and we've just had our newborn 14 days ago. So we have 3 kids. And the last one just came now. After 10 years, we got a little baby to take care of. In my culture, every time the wife gets pregnant, and when the baby's born, okay, your whole family comes on the first day. And then your mum will pick up the baby, and she will kiss the baby. And then your dad will pick up the baby, and he will kiss the baby. And then your auntie will pick up the baby, and she'll kiss the baby. And then your uncle will pick up the baby, and will kiss the baby. And then your cousin will pick up the baby, and will kiss the baby. You have about 40, 50, 60 people kissing that baby. Now, my wife, she is also Brazilian. I'm originally from Brazil. She's also Brazilian, but she grew up in the UK. So she has a really strong British sort of culture within her. The fact that she loves beans on toast and tea more than meat tells me that she actually is more British than Brazilian. Now, when we were having our kids, the first thing she said to me was, there's going to be no kissing of the babies. Now, I had to go and communicate to my mum because my dad, I mean, I was at the back there now. He's called me about 3-4 times already just this morning. My mum calls me 3-4 times. I'm 34 years old, married man with 3 kids, and my parents keep calling me every day for 5 times a day. Culture, okay, that's what we're talking about. And basically, my mum calls me and says, is the baby born? Yes, on the day. Okay, I'm coming to your home then. I said, okay, Mum, so you're coming, you know, there's not going to be no kissing of the baby. What do you mean there's going to be no kiss of the baby? We've got to kiss the baby. Everyone's got to kiss it. No, Mum, you can't kiss the baby. That's story number 1. Number 2, I was in Sierra Leone, okay. I was working with OM, Operation Mobilization, working with the Logos Hope ship. So we were traveling the whole world, and we were last year in West Africa. So I was in Sierra Leone and invited to preach at a church. Got off the ship, was waiting outside a bit. They told me they would be there by 8 o'clock to pick me up. It's 8:30, nothing. 9 o'clock, nothing. I'm thinking, okay, now I'm the speaker there. I'm going to be late. You know, and I studied in a British college. To be late, you know, British time is very important. To be late, I can't be late. Where are these guys? These guys are going to pick me up. 10 o'clock, they arrived to pick me up. Me and my family. 3 cars arrive, 3 4x4s. They put us in the middle car, and they drive us to church. We arrive at church. Arriving at church, they're scolding me, literally, these huge guys in front of me. Church had about 10,000 people in the church. It was a mega church. And then the bishop was there, and then he's like, finally he has arrived in front of all those people. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know it was that amount of people I was going to be speaking to. Prepared my sermon for that day, went up, and of course, you stay in the UK. Sue is here, she can confirm. I was given 10 minutes to give a talk here at college when I was studying here. 10-minute sermon. Now in Africa. So I prepared a 30 minutes when I was there. So I did and I thought, okay, I nailed it. I did my talk, it was amazing. And then the bishop comes up and says, Bishop Philippe, thank you so much. I even became a bishop that day. Bishop Philippe, thank you so much for the introduction. Now can you preach for us? Thankfully, because I studied here, I was taught many, many times, if you go to Africa, have 5, 6, 7 sermons for the day. Because that's how much you're going to be preaching. I remember I was talking for about 2-3 hours after that. and even making up stories, bringing stories in and all that stuff. That's another story, okay? And then my role on the ship was people development department head. So I was responsible for 350 young people on board, 60 different nations. Just my team itself were 13 people from all over the world, everyone different in their personalities as well as in their culture. How to deal with all of that, and I was preaching constantly on the Sunday there because we always had a Sunday service on board. 60 different nations, everyone likes to hear a sermon in a way. How do we make that work well? Even in the UK today, if you think about it, globalization has taken over. We've got people from all over the world. In our churches, all of our churches are becoming multicultural churches. How do we engage with them? How do we, we discuss, theological differences well together? So all of these things combined, because I studied here at All Nations, they prepared me for this sort of different context that I was in. And here you would not just learn to be able to deepen yourself theologically, but also, for example, I worked 3 years in Morocco. And the time that I was there, titles is worth nothing. Your knowledge is worth nothing. The only thing they want from you is your heart and how much you're willing to spend time with them and sit in the bush and just chat for hours and drink tea. So all of these things I was able to learn here at All Nations. And that's why I think if you're thinking about mission, even if it's local mission, even if we're talking a UK context, if you're talking about multicultural churches, if we're talking about intercultural mission, I would say to you, this is an awesome place to study.